Ian Rigby has a question that I'm dying to answer. This is a real maker's dilemma, and it had a real resonance with me. So Ian Rigby says, recently, I made a small gewgaw for myself, nothing special, but I felt the maker's pride of accomplishment, and realizing I had excess materials, I made another one for a family member. A couple days later, when I was talking to them on the phone and asked if they got it and what they thought of it, they confirmed that they did get it, but they had no use for it, so they threw it away. They knew prior to this that I'd made it. This has really knocked my confidence, because although the original was for myself, the fact that it was so casually dismissed and tossed after I'd made the effort is quite hurtful. I find myself very reluctant to continue making in my head, because in my head, it's clearly no good. Have you had something like this happen? And if so, how do you get past that? I don't want to stop making, but I don't want this feeling of being no good. Yeah, no, that's real. I'm going to tell 3 stories here. And I'm not sure I have a specific answer for how to recover from something like this, except time, because what you're going through is real, and I've gone through it. I had the first story I want to tell is from high school. I was building lots of model kits. And I was buying lots of model kits, and I was painting them the way they should be painted, and I was getting pretty good at it. And then I started cutting them up and modifying them. And I started, like, I took a pair of wings from a plane model I had, and I mounted them backwards, and the plane looked really good. And I seamed the wings, and it was a professional looking job. I was like 16, 17 years old. And then I'm going to be circumspect about how I tell you the details of this, but I messed up with a family member, an authority family member, and they got very angry at me for messing up, and they woke me up on a Saturday morning after a snowstorm. I'd left a door open during a snowstorm, and snow had piled into a space. And this family member got so mad, they came into my room, they woke me up, and they were like, as in their anger, they picked up a bunch of the stuff on my desk, and they threw it, and they destroyed it. And one of them was the model. And the aftermath of that isn't important. The aftermath with me and that model is because I didn't build another plastic model for years. Yeah, I think I was 16, 17. I don't think I built another plastic. I was so sad at having lost that piece, having lost that kind of magic fire, because the piece itself was an evidence of me branching out beyond my skill set and finding some meat there. And then that had been taken from me. Now I had another experience with this already, which was in my sophomore year in high school. I had discovered Gary Benton's class. Gary Benton was the art teacher at Sleepy Hollow High School in the 80s, and he was a real early mentor for me, saw that I was clever with the making of things and gave me total access to all the stuff they had in the art department, and I executed a lot. There's so many stories to tell you about my high school art shenanigans. And over the sophomore and junior years, I filled the art room. Like when we had a corrugated cardboard assignment to make something out of corrugated cardboard, I went and found some boxes and brought them home, and my dad was like, oh, cardboard boxes are fine, but let me take you to the art store where you can buy unbroken sheets of corrugated cardboard. And I was like, 36 by 24-inch sheets of corrugated cardboard? I never imagined such a thing could be purchased by humans. Seeing it as a real art material instead of just as a cardboard box was a seminal moment for me. And so when we got a corrugated cardboard assignment to make something out of only corrugated cardboard, I made like 8 things. I couldn't stop. I made a record player, I made a guitar, I made the MTV logo. I made all sorts of different things. And they ended up, when you have one of those students in your art department, you just start throwing their stuff up. And so by the end of my junior year, there was just tons and tons and tons of the things that I had built up in the art room. And I had great affection for those things. They were mine. They were just happened to be there. And I came in the beginning of my senior year, and all of it was gone. And what had turned out was that the principal had wanted to save space and had called the art teacher and said, you got to clean out the art room. And she was getting married and was nowhere near the town. And so the principal went in and threw out everything he thought needed to be thrown out of the art room. This is what I was told. And they threw out everything I had built. I was so upset about losing that large cachet of stuff that I consulted an attorney to find out that I had no case to stand on. And the loss of those pieces, I felt keenly on the order of years. Last story I'm going to tell you. Many years ago, a close relative of mine was getting married, and I said to them, hey, you've just bought a new house. I thought the wedding present that I would like to give you would be to weld you something for your house. Specifically, like maybe a dish rack above the kitchen, or some pot holding thing, or a special door latch for your gate, or something like that. I make stuff out of steel. I'd love to make something for your new house. And then I didn't get a response to that. And so a few weeks later, I said to that family member, hey, I never got a response from you about what you'd like me to make you for your house. And they said, oh yeah. They said, when you make something, it's all about you, really. It's not about me. So look, you could just get me a picture frame or a mug or something, is what this family member said to me. And I was so surprised by how much that hurt. I was shocked by how much that hurt. When we make stuff and we give that stuff to other people, we don't always realize how vulnerable we are in that moment, because we've taken a part of ourselves and we have spent part of our precious, wild one life here on earth executing something, and we've given it to somebody. When fans bring me art stuff at the tables, I often thank them for the time, because the time was spent in a kind of a meditation. But that vulnerability that you have when you give something of yours away is completely real. And I fully understand how you feel about this. I would be very upset by that. I would be like, you couldn't just give it back to me? Did it have to go to the trash? What are you, a monster? Were you raised in like who? There's so much about this that makes me crazy. I can only assume that they might be slightly neurodivergent and that this wasn't an aggressive act. And so the fact is that most of the world really appreciates when you make something and you give it to them. But it's really vital that you maintain a knowledge of the fact that in this exchange, you are a vulnerable party. Because that kind of what feels like a rejection can push you off axis. And like I said, in both of those cases of losing the stuff in the art department and the model getting destroyed, in both of those cases, man, there was a long tail on the order of like a year or two before I felt like getting my hands back into it. So time and iteration. That person throwing out the thing you made has no bearing on your skill as a maker. That is the truth of the situation. It does not diminish any way the thing that you made. Their appreciation was not necessary for that object you made to be fully extant in the world. Those things are true. Whether you feel them emotionally is another matter, but those things are true. Ian Rigby, thanks for such a really important question to answer and to talk about as a maker. Thank you for watching that video. Are you as sick of the tosses to membership as I am? Good, because here's a brand new one that I recorded today, and it's nice and short. There are 3 tiers to tested membership, and they all offer awesome stuff. Find out about it by clicking the join link below. We'll see you there.